Hello everyone and welcome back to the Cyclocross Social podcast. Today we're going to be talking about the second round of the Exact Cross series, the Robotland Cross in Essen. And with me to do that is Issam.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Before we get into the racing, let's start by talking about the big news of today. Is Wout van Aert the masked singer? Is he the squirrel, Issam?
Wait, what?
You didn't... This morning... I open Twitter, I open Het Laatste Nieuws, big Belgian newspaper. Wout van Aert, is he the squirrel in The Masked Singer? Fans are sure. Yesterday night's episode of Masked Singer, fans are sure. Wout van Aert is in that costume.
Well, I really haven't picked up anything on this, but well, I have to check that out. But, he has some spare time now, I guess, because... It seems like the preparation for Cyclocross is not really underway. It's just really trying to get some decent form for next year. But well, if he has that spare time, it could be. I'm gonna try and look into that because it's quite interesting, I would say.
Oh man, I can't believe you didn't pick up on that. It was all over every feed I opened this morning. Even in the Instagram reels, they say the sound is alike, and then people went digging into his Strava, and he made a Strava ride in the form of a squirrel, and then also posted a squirrel as caption of his ride, and all these hints. So apparently he is it. But the big news that I actually wanted to talk about was also from this morning, and I would say it's more significant. So on a more serious note, Iserbyt has been suspended by the UCI following his actions in Beringen. He has been suspended for 3 races. That's what Paul Sauser said. Let me talk you through the process of how this happened. Iserbyt, he stomped on Kamp's bike in Beringen. He was disqualified, taken out of the race. He was handed a 100 Swiss franc fine. That's standard procedure. The chief commissar in Beringen then filed his race report, sent that to the UCI, and they decided to present this to the disciplinary committee, and they eventually decided to suspend Iserbyt. That's what we said last week. The disciplinary committee can suspend Iserbyt. It doesn't happen that often in cyclocross, but now it did. They set a precedent. In my opinion, a deserved one. I think a short suspension is very valid for this. You want to send a signal, okay, this is absolutely not allowed. This is unacceptable in our sport. So I agree with that. A small note, the UCI hasn't communicated about this. Paul Sauser is the one saying a 3-race suspension. I'm pretty sure it's a suspension from Saturday to Saturday, which effectively means Iserbyt misses 3 races he was going to do. But technically, he could have raised Woerden on Tuesday, so that's just a wording thing there. I would say a valid suspension. What do you think, Issam?
Yeah, valid. I have to say that I didn't expect it, to be honest. In a way, maybe, because it really got some traction, and it was, if the UCI didn't really do anything here, didn't set a precedent, then it would be... it would be just a tricky situation for the UCI, for the sport as a whole. I think that it was the right decision. To be honest, I think that I suggested something along the line that the team should have done that, to be honest, to suspend him for a week or so. Because now, at least, I think most of the people that are following cyclocross that had an opinion on this, will feel some satisfaction with what the UCI has done. You will not please anyone. But I feel that this was the right decision, even for Iserbyt, and they were talking about the financial burden in a way that it will cost him somewhat. But I feel that is just the right decision, and it may even come out kind of good for him, because I feel that after a month or two, no one will talk about it, and I think that will be also a good thing for Iserbyt, and I think we can move on from the whole situation, and hopefully it's one of the last weekends we will talk about it.
I would indeed agree that it's a bit unexpected, not because it's undeserved, but because the committee doesn't do it that much. I referred to a fist fight between Adams and Bastans last week, and nothing happened there. But I think it's good that they're on top of this, because this is unacceptable. Iserbyt apologized to Kamp by phone on Saturday night. Kamp said he accepted the apology and just thought to move on, but that he didn't have an opinion on the suspension, and I think Kamp chose his words very, very wisely here in front of the camera today. But I think we can leave it behind there. Iserbyt will come back. His Super Prestige classification is looking quite stiff because he's missing Ruddervoorde. It's going to be hard for him to win that, but again, some actions have responses, they have consequences, and the consequence for Iserbyt was that he wasn't at the start today in Essen, but we have still had a very interesting race. So the fastest start was for Ryan Kamp, the other main protagonist in this, but Kamp in the second lap would be involved in another incident. This time Thomas Meen crashed and couldn't continue the race. Kamp had a broken wheel. There was a very, very big curve in his wheel. He needed to go to the pits and eventually fought back, but didn't make the top 10. We had a very big peloton until lap 7 when Aerts had a mechanical that briefly put Vandeputte and Sweeck out front, but Aerts managed to come back because nobody was eager to continue on what was a very fast course. 8 riders went into the final lap together. Sweeck was in front, but behind him there was a lot of fighting for position. Key moment was at the barriers. Vandeputte was out of position, but on the barriers jumped super fast, channels his inner Vanderpool. I mean, Vandeputte, VDP, Vanderpool, VDP. I mean, you see the similarities there. The Jeansman took the front, stormed, placed an attack. Only Sweeck was in the wheel. Vandeputte was in a very good position to win this race, but in the final corner, he made a mistake. He needed to unclip, which gave Sweeck a new opportunity. It came down to a sprint. The start-finish rate is very, very short. But again, Vandeputte unclipped his pedal, this time not on purpose, and that allowed Sweeck to take the win ahead of Vandeputte. Jens Adams took third. Issam, about that final lap, that final sprint, Vandeputte, everything went wrong for him in the final lap. I was telling my dad throughout the race, Vandeputte, he's waiting. You can see on the barriers he has something left. He's going to do it. In the final lap, he'll attack there and just go to the line. He kind of did that, but he didn't reach it in front. His attack was not as effective. If he would have been in first position, he could have probably created a gap there. Nevertheless, he's still in a position to win the race, but then 2 mistakes in the final 20 seconds of the race. Man, it's almost like Toon Aerts was in the lead.
Well, it was surprising to me in a way, the way Vandeputte was riding before the barriers, because, as you said, that it looked, to me, he was probably the one that was jumping over the barriers the smoothest. Also one of the few that was jumping, which is not a normality in a way in the men's peloton, to be honest, at the front, but he let it, he wasn't, I think, second, third in several cases on that last lap, but then just, I remember twice that Aerts tried to get to the front a little bit, and then he just lost like 4 positions in 2 corners and then had to fight his way back. Then he kind of solved the issue there with the barriers and was able to get to the front. And to be honest, when that happened, I thought, well, it's going to be difficult for Sweeck to get past. Sweeck tried it, wasn't really able to, and yeah, a bit of a shame. And this is definitely, it doesn't really matter if you get second here. It's not for classification. It's all for the honor in a way. Yeah, to miss out on a win like that, the way he did, which in my opinion, after that corner, that should have been a 100% secured victory, because as you said, it's a very short start-finish straight. Before you know it, you're at the finish line. The effort is obviously going to be hurting, but normally a rider never should be able to get past there. And yeah, he in my opinion, bottled the win here and was not able to grant himself that victory. And for Sweeck, I mean, I think when I was looking at that race, it was a dream entry to the season in a way, because this is these type of courses is suited so well to Sweeck. He loves this game. The way he also controlled that last lap up until the barriers was, in my opinion, very impressive. He controlled it so well. When he saw that Toon Aerts was coming from behind, he covered that attack twice perfectly. I think it was from his side a great race up until the barriers. Then obviously Vandeputte got past, and that got him in a difficult situation. And from there he tried to get past, wasn't able to, but then got the gift in a way from Vandeputte.
That first part of the final lap especially was good by Sweeck. I don't really know if he really messed up at the barriers because he just did what he could do there, but before, if you're looking on paper here, looking on TV, it doesn't look that hard to overtake, does it? It's wide, it's grass, there's no ruts, like, why don't you go past? But the single path that's, like, smooth is so much less bumpy than if you go through the higher grass next to it, that it costs so much energy. And that's why Sweeck, with his experience, was in the lead, and he let all the other riders do the jockeying for the positions. And then, like, the most funny moment was when Aerts attacked from out the back, and he just, as if he's a track cyclist, looks back, three strokes of acceleration, and he just, Aerts, no attack, like he'd never got out of the saddle. He was in control. There was a dodgy moment when Vandeputte had passed him. He tried to get the move done, but he almost lost control. His rear wheel was launched up into the air, but he managed to save it, and then eventually he gets handed the win on a silver platter because Vandeputte makes some mistakes here. Let's also not make too much of it. Vandeputte is a very good rider. We can conclude that he is continuing where he left off last season so far. He's doing very well. He's a rider who's capable of doing it on every course, is kind of what we're seeing, because he can do it in Beringen, he can do it here, he can do it in Brumath. Those are his 3 races this season, but we've seen him do it in the mud as well last year. He can be happy, but I think also Sweeck can be happy, especially Sweeck can be happy. Vandeputte should be a bit disappointed with himself, but overall should be happy with his form. Sweeck should be happy because last year was, I think, the first time in 10 years he didn't win a single race in the season. Now he wins at his season start, which I think can only help him, because last year he got in this downward spiral. Oh, Sweeck, how come you didn't win again? Oh, you're not on the podium. Like, the media starts asking you these questions, and rightfully so. But it just puts you in a downward spiral, and this win will already stop that from happening this year. And we'll see tomorrow in Rudderford. It should be another quite fast race. So that should be another opportunity for Sweeck, because he's 31. This is the time to do it, but it's also the time of season to do it for him, because even the best Sweeck has a hard time when the courses get muddy. If we look at the entire top 10, we saw that behind Sweeck and Vandeputte, Jens Adams took the 3rd podium spot ahead of Looks, then Toon Aerts 5th, ahead of Toon van der Bos, Wart Huijps, Corné van Kessel, Thijs Aerts and Lucas Janssen. Let's zoom in on that battle for the podium. That was between Adams, Looks and Aerts in the end. Adams got that, but what was he doing? He turned into Formula 1 driver, and not a good one, like Nikita Mazepin or Logan Sargent there in the final lap, because he just decides to go for a dive bomb. I'm not braking. Toon Aerts, thank you. If Aerts isn't there, he would have shot straight across the Dutch border.
yeah, that was a dive bomb and a half. I mean, I kind of understand what he was doing there, because Toon Aerts was fading, and he probably knew that if he wanted to have at least somewhat of a chance on second or first, then he needed to pass Toon Aerts. The urgency was there. But then again, if you're out of shape, you kind of know that would happen with that, that downhill there and then the turn. It was a messy move, but he made it work, and eventually it got him the 3rd spot. I'm just a bit puzzled on if that should be the standard in a way. I mean, should that be something that grants you a 3rd spot? Is that allowed in a way to just bump your way to 3rd, which he kind of did in a way? I think that is up for debate. I would say it's probably a bit dirty. I don't know. For me it crossed the line a little bit. I would say it was really on the edge of unfair racing in a way. But he made it work, and he got that 3rd spot. And I think so far that 3rd spot is still his.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to change. And again, like, the Iserbyt thing was clearly something that was over the line, but instances like this, we've seen that many times, like sportive incidents of blocking, which is dirty by Paul Saus most recently, or moments of kind of extreme shoving the door, like closing the door. Remember at the World Championships in Ostend, the women's race came down to the wire between Lucinda Brandt and Annemarie Worst. Brandt just rigorously shuts the door and Worst crashes, and Brandt is crowned world champion. Those things happen quite a lot, and I would agree that this is not the type of racing I want to see, but I also don't think it really warrants any form of punishment, simply because it happens quite a lot, and it is cyclocross, and it is easy to mess up. Like, it's easy to slip a finger off the brake if your fingers are muddy or sweaty or those type of things. So, I don't know. Knowing Adams, it's not something he does too often or does it on purpose. So, yeah, we'll see. He barged into Aerts there. Aerts had nothing in the final lap. He had that mechanical in lap 7 out of 11, which really ruined his chances of a podium. I don't think he could have matched Sweeck or Vandeputte in the end, but it's again a solid race by Aerts. Then Lokes Issam, he's the final rider I would like to discuss here. In my opinion, he was too active. He's wasted too much energy. He was constantly attacking, like the road rider he's kind of becoming now, attacking, and then in the final lap he just didn't have it to take that podium spot, when to me it was quite clear you're not going to get away here, and that's also how Sweeck and Vandeputte raced. We're not getting away, we'll save ourselves for the final laps.
Yeah, so you got to make that decision at some point, and especially the course that they had, it was just abundantly clear that you're not going to really get away. The level was close enough for each other to just stay in the wheels, and if you can hurt someone, but the effort that you have to put in to try and make something like that happen is just so huge. So and it will cost you in the end on the last lap, and I think that he just missed out a little bit on just the edge to get that podium. I think that he had the capability, if you look at how he raced, that it was possible. I would say it was within reach, but he chose to race the way he did, and that is obviously going to cost you a little bit, especially when it's so close. But it looked quite good, so I think that if he gets a couple more opportunities, maybe you can learn a little bit from this and try to make it happen another day. But you don't really know if an opportunity like that will present itself, because we don't really know how the weather will be in the next couple of weeks.
I mean, Lokes is a decent rider, and these are the races where he needs to show himself, so I can get how he gets a bit carried away, but it wasn't the smartest race. Then, before we go to the women's race, I would like to mention that Casasola made his debut for the Charles Legoire Roastery CX team. He finished 12th, first year U23. That was a solid result by him. Then the women's race, we had the fastest start for Alicia Frank, the home rider, but also here we had quite a big leading group. Eventually we went to a situation where we had 4 leaders. We had 2 riders from Crelan Corendon. Those were Casasola and Norbert Riberolle, and there were 2 riders for the Coaster Bouwpunt in Alicia Frank and Laura Verdonschot. In the 6th lap, Riberolle placed a second big attack, and this time she got away. Casasola quickly took lead of the chasing group to block any of the Coaster Bouwpunt riders from chasing, but both of them were out of gas. Riberolle went to take victory. Casasola secured 2nd place in the final lap ahead of Laura Verdonschot, who started her Belgian season with a podium place. Elite team tactics here by Crelan Corendon Issam. It's not something we see in the women's peloton too often. It's personally not my favorite type of racing to watch. I can't blame the teams for doing it, and we have to say Riberolle was strong. I do think Casasola was stronger, but the Italian champion played role model teammate and also didn't do anything dirty in the blocking. She blocked like a master, really, just taking the lead, slowing down, and before we knew it, Riberolle had 20 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that for Casasola, maybe the opening part of the race was trying a little bit too much. It's a little bit similar to Lokes in a way. I think that if you would have raced a little bit more defensively in the wheels, I don't think that Riberolle will get that opportunity in a way in the first place. But she played it well. She played the team tactics as it should be done, to be honest. And the others didn't really have an answer, and then it's the race is over, and there's not really much you can do about it, and you have to settle for second. And I think by Casasola finishing in second, she showed that she definitely had the capability to win this race. But the race played out as it played out, and it was a very smart move from Riberolle, and in the end, that got her the victory. Next to obviously the team tactics that were played.
Casasola also didn't seem too sad about having Riberolle win. Riberolle dedicated the win to her grandma, who is very ill and in the hospital. So I think it was a feel-good overall, and Casasola is also happy to be on the podium here. So if this is going to happen a lot, then you start to get some friction. But if it's just a single time, then it's okay. And probably Casasola will hope that Riberolle returns the favor at some point. They share their mobile home together. So if you add all those things up, I think there's no big issue there that Casasola holds any grudge following this second place. Then third and fourth went to the Bouwpunt. As said, there's a real positive vibe around this team, which has acquired Camille van den Berg as one of its staff members. So how did that come into place? Camille van den Berg was with the Cyclocross Reds, and he made the switch. And that happened because Laura Verdonschot, before last season, reached out to Camille van den Berg saying, hey, I'm not doing well. My results are nowhere near what I want them to be. Can you start helping me? Camille van den Berg said, yes, I can do it, but you cannot tell anybody because I'm with the Cyclocross Reds. Then, of course, Verdonschot had a great season last year, and now Van den Berg has made the switch to fully support Verdonschot. Verdonschot took 6 wins already this season, 4 in the Hope Supercross Series and 2 in Spain. She now finishes third here, and I do want to say, well, that is a great result. This is not the type of course that Verdonschot does best on. Wait till we get into the mud, wait till the temperatures drop, till it's time for the real cyclocross conditions. That's when we will see her shine. For Frank, this on the other hand is a weather type and course type on which she does best. Frank has undergone surgery after last season when she had a lot of physical discomfort. She's had almost no road racing due to that, but she is coming into form. Last week she finished 5th. And then there's, of course, a bunch of other riders on this team who have been racing and they've been winning or scoring podiums, like Jinse Peters and Lotte Bale and Nette Koppens, who is in some way affiliated with the team. So everything there is seemingly going well, Issam, and I wonder how you feel about those two riders beating Aniek van Alphen. What did you make of her race, who was on the Cyclocross Reg, which used to be trained by Camille van den Berg?
Well, if you look at how the race went, it was quite a normal result because Van Alphen was always, looked to me in a way, to be honest, the weakest out of the group. I think that Bakker in the beginning of the race looked to me giving a little better impression than Van Alphen. But yeah, that was just the nature of the race, and I think that Van Alphen didn't really particularly do something completely wrong, but was just not really able to get in the mix, and it was always kind of trading back and trying to get back in the group. And if she was in the group and then there was a gap, she had to close it, and it wasn't the best of outings for her. But I don't think that this is really a race you should pinpoint as something that we need to hold on to and be like that is going to be how the season will evolve. I feel that there are plenty of races that will definitely not be like the race that we had today in Essen. And I think that when it becomes a little bit more muddier and similar to what you said about Verdonschot, when we get those type of races, I think that for Van Alphen it might be a little bit better. So we have to wait and see. But it definitely came apparent that these fast races weren't really... she didn't really get into a rhythm quite well this race.
And she's done well in these races before, but I would more point towards a bad day because last week in Beringen she was 4th, and it's still early season, so we'll see. She said she wants to be more consistent this season, doesn't want to burn out like last year, so that can definitely play a role here as well. So behind the top 5 of Riberolle, Casasola, Verdonschot, Frank and Van Alphen, we find Manon Bakker, Femke Gort, Meka Baka, Loes Sels and Anna Kay. Not really a promising result for Anna Kay, but we've spoken about her in earlier podcasts, so let's leave that. There's not that much to talk about, really. The women's field wasn't that deep. Essen moved to earlier in the season to hope to attract more riders, to have a full field of B riders, but even that didn't really work. And I say B riders with the utmost respect, because for organizers, the A riders are the superstars that Wout van Aert, Mathieu van der Poel, those who attract extra spectators. So 2 things, Meka Baka in 8th was racing in a black kit. She's been doing that all season. There's this rumor going around that she was sacked by Hens Maas because she didn't live up to clothing and like bike parts, bike sponsor deals that she raced in other kits on other bikes for her local club team. Everything about that is unconfirmed. There's been no official release from Hensma's. There's been no comment from her side, but that is going around. That's why she's in a black kit. And then I would like to say that Jamie de Boer, who finished 11th, also finished in the top 15 in Beringen last week. She was 14th. She races for a Dutch club team. She is a mother of 3 children. She used to race cyclocross when she was in the youth, when she was a junior. Then we go way back to 2013, 2014. She raced with a lost surname. She's only recently picked up cycling again. She won a B race in Belgium, and now she's doing very well in these races. If I were one of the smaller Belgian teams, I would try and give her a phone call and see if she would be interested in trading that club team kit for my kit, if you give her a bike or just some support or some amount of money, because there might be some Denise Betsema type of story developing here. Good. Then there was racing in other places as well. The Coupe de France had the first round, Issam. I would like to go through some of the results here with you. Loris Roulier took the win. Pre-season Roulier back at it, taking the wins ahead of David Menu and Fabien Dubé. Dubé, the rider for Total, looking to do a bit more cyclocross this season. 2 years ago, I remember him racing the World Championships. Then the women's race, won by Marie Schreiber, who started her season. Then Hélène Clausel was second, and Célia Géry was third. Issam, Géry is a special kid, isn't she? Because I say kid, young woman is what I must say, because she is a first-year U23, but the junior world champion of last year in Tabor. Last week, I would have expected her to win in Switzerland, but she kind of blew up in Steinmauer. But here in Nome, third place, I would say that's quite impressive. 1:30 behind Schreiber, 40 seconds behind Clausel. Those are promising results for early season races for somebody so young.
Yeah, absolutely. But I wouldn't put too much pressure on it, but we can also say a little bit expected. The talent cannot just disappear. It was there last year, and it's showing again this year. And I think that, now it becomes always a little bit more tricky because you have to do more of these elite races. But that's part of the growing process in a way. And I feel that these type of results, you'll learn from them, and then you can set goals. I mean, now 1:30, when it's you got to try to get a little bit closer, maybe try to go for wins. And I think that it will be a matter of time before she will be able to go in these type of races and go for victory. But time will tell, obviously, and we have to wait and see. But I feel that obviously you could see that the talent is there, and she's a very talented young lady, and she will just evolve and grow into the season and get better and better. And let's hope that it will be that there won't be any hiccups, any injuries, and all that kind of nasty stuff. And hopefully she will be able to get there as fast as she wants to.
And she isn't the only talented French rider, because Leo Bichot wasn't there this weekend, but we did see Aubin Sparfel, who could and probably should have become world champion in Tabor in the men junior category. He had a puncture. He was the reason that they won the mixed relay, but that was a strong ride by Sparfel there in Tabor, and he won the U23 race here despite starting almost all the way at the back. So that was a good day for the AG Desert Decathlon riders, because Théophile Valsal won the men junior race. There was racing in Sweden. Clément Horny won, and note this race was on Wednesday. 5 races in Sweden. They added a midweek race to attract riders to chase points. Clément Horny from Belgium took the win ahead of Hannes Degenkolb and Bailey Groenendaal. The women elite race was won by Jinse Peters ahead of Xan Kries and Oda Laforce. The race on Saturday, the elite race, was won by Daniel Wies-Nielsen, also from AG Desert Decathlon, ahead of Bailey Groenendaal and Hannes Degenkolb. The women's race was now won by Oda Laforce ahead of Jinse Peters and Pam Hoefmans. Then the final race of today was in Hungary. This was a European Cup. This only had U23 races. And I just wanted to mention it because Sven Nys was hired to go there and give a clinic on Friday and do some coaching there. And he was very positive about the course and said it could be ready to host a World Cup. Then the final race on my list, Issam, is the Kermiscross in Ardooien. We went there last year. This year we skipped on it. I had exams. They're luckily all finished now. Only a presentation left, but it's cross. So Ardooien, the women's race was won by Alvarado ahead of Riberolle and Frank. No real surprises there. The men's race was won by Van Toerenhout ahead of Iserbyt and Wietse Meeuwse. I would like to mention that Gerben Kuiper started his season with a 6th place there, and we saw many of the same riders that we saw on TV today compete for victory in that race. Jens Adams was 4th, for instance, and Lander Looks was 5th. Good. I think that will cover it, Issam, for today. We will be back tomorrow. Super Prestige starts in Ruddervoorde. Bit stronger start list. Still a couple of names missing. No Ronhaar, no Nieuwenhuis. Both are sick. But we'll be there and we'll cover it. No Iserbyt, but probably an interesting battle for the win. Thank you for being here again, Issam.
Thank you for having me, and looking forward to the Super Prestige, because that is obviously, it's a prestigious classification, and it's always fun the way they do it with the 1 point difference, a position that you gain. And yeah, it's going to be quite interesting to see how it will play out this year and how the participation will be over the course of the season. But yeah, thank you for having me, and looking forward to tomorrow.
Thank everyone for listening as well. Please leave a comment if you're listening on Spotify or on YouTube. And yeah, we like to interact with you. And if you don't have any of those platforms, you can email us, noah@cyclocross with 3 S's at the end.com. noah@cyclocross.com. See you guys tomorrow for Ruddervoorde. Bye.